Hi, this is Michael Uslan. You're listening to Batman on Film.
I'm vengeance.
I have given a name to my pain.
The Batman.
Always waiting for some Batman to save you.
It's simple. We kill the Bat of Gotham. I'm Batman.
Welcome to the BOF Social Hour, a Batman on Film podcast. I am the founder of Batman on Film, Bill Ramey, and you are listening to episode number 138. Let's ride. Pete Verra, let's ride.
You're still rolling with that, huh? That's your thing now.
Yeah, it's that. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Hey,
It sounds a little Texan. Let's ride.
yeah, a little bit.
What was the Lone Ranger's? What was the name of the Lone Ranger's horse? What was it? Was it
Trigger? No, it's Silver.
was Squanto's Geronimo? One of them had Geronimo, right?
Silver was Lone
So
Ranger.
the high horse is like Silver.
Oh.
Let's ride.
Yeah,
That's my
let's
Lone
ride.
Ranger.
Lone Ranger.
You know, which is fitting
I
for
see.
you and the Texas Rangers.
Sure. Well, yeah. How about those?
It's all
Texas
connected,
Rangers?
baby.
It's all connected. 2-0 against everybody's. It's probably the most popular sporting team, professional sports team in the country, right? The Houston Astros.
Right now, I don't know if anyone well, the Astros are probably the most vilified. Still.
Okay, I my tongue was firmly in my cheek when I said they were the most popular. I think they're
Right now the Rangers are the most popular outside of
I'm sure.
Philadelphia and Arizona. But
Yeah.
everything else
yeah.
seems like going Texas way.
Yeah, it was a good sports weekend. My Longhorns didn't lose because they had a bye. So
Are they not having a good year this year? I haven't been following.
they were a top 5 team, and then they messed around a couple weeks ago and lost to Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout. So they only lost one. So it looks like if they take care of their business, they'll end up playing Oklahoma again in the Big 12 championship. So they still have a chance to get into the playoffs. So we shall see. But everything else went well. Rangers are 2-0, coming back to Texas. Well, they were in Texas. They
haven't left Texas.
They haven't left Texas. They're coming back.
They went to the DFW.
To the DFW to play over in Arlington starting tomorrow.
Are the boys excited about this? Are they getting all geared up? I know I talk to Mike every now and then about it, but
Yeah.
Jake, he's got Ranger fever too.
Yeah, I mean,
Gotta get Jake on a podcast.
well, it would be. I told you it'd be dead air.
I love that kid.
So I don't know.
That's
Yeah. So good sports weekend, and
what's
ready
the
to talk some
rivalry like
Batman.
between Houston? Is it between now? Like, what is it?
Okay.
Houston versus Dallas, like, because the NBA, you have a bunch of basketball teams.
It's
like, how's the rivalry
basically just in general, Houston hates everything Dallas, and Dallas DFW doesn't care. Does that make sense?
It does a bit, yeah.
Okay.
I'm curious because
especially with
and
the
having
Cowboys.
New York and Philly so close.
They're always in the Cowboys shadow. Texas is a Cowboys state. There's a huge number of Cowboy fans in Houston. So I mean, it's just this goes back to the Oiler days. So
I love that logo.
I mean, with baseball, I mean, the Rangers had a chance to win a couple World Series 10 plus years ago.
Ron Washington.
And then after that, they weren't, it's been a while. So, and then Houston won a couple World Series since then. And they've been to 7 straight American League Championship Series. That's, so when it comes to that, Yeah, when
Even
that
though-
rivalry, it's like kind of Houston has the upper hand, obviously,
yeah,
but that things may be changing. So
it's interesting
go.
here because there's, New Jersey has the one hockey team. We used to have a
Yeah.
basketball team, but like you've got multiple teams in multiple states, and then Philly's only an hour down south. So like it's not as much where I live in New Jersey, like, but I get a lot of the Philly Eagle, the Philly fan, and they're having a good time right now. So it's interesting because the Giants have been down, the Yankees and Mets have been down. It seems like the only down Philly team has been like the Flyers recently. So a lot of the South Jersey people are really excited. It's interesting seeing the buzz from Philly come up here.
Yeah, I imagine what are the just in that general, I mean, are your affinity or your loyalty to a team based on geography or just happenstance, just or your family tradition or what? I mean, like,
It's usually it usually goes by like family and where you live.
okay,
You know,
so where's like a lot of Giants fans are like northern New Jersey, right? Your
I would
country.
say it's probably Middlesex County, New Jersey, and up. So
Yeah.
Central Jersey to North Jersey, and then when you get on the Jersey coast, will tend to go South Jersey, and that's more Philadelphia.
Okay. So we're like Jets, that like Long Island or what? What's the Jets?
The Jets are more of a Long Island team than they are probably in New Jersey. There's a good amount of Jets fans in New Jersey, but they're definitely like historically more of a Long Island team, even fan base wise, even though everything about the Jets and the Giants is based in New Jersey.
Okay. So what about, and we'll finish this up real quick, get to Batman here in a second, but I find this interesting. What about Mets Yankees?
It's probably split, I'd say 60-40 in the city, given the Yankees. I think the Mets are very popular. You know, New York City's an interesting city because half the city roots against you.
Yeah.
You think about it, the whole city's it's cool seeing a city like Philadelphia just all united and rooting for one team, because in New York, half the city hates you.
Well, at least
It's funny, especially if you're a Yankee fan.
At least you're passionate. The New York sports fan is passionate. I mean, LA has two football teams, two baseball
LA could care less about anything, though.
And they don't, and two hockey teams,
there.
they don't care about any of it, So
I think they've got two of everything
basketball,
except for hockey in LA.
Well, they got Anaheim. Yeah, they got
they claim Anaheim. So
Anaheim, the Mighty Ducks. So okay. Well, we're going to do another edition of Batman on Film Rank 'Em. And the topic of today's show is we're going to me and Pete are going to list our top 5 favorite live action Batman villains, including Batman 66. Now, there's a conundrum there.
Why? Because it's on an island?
Well, Batman 66 is not on an island. Only Kasab would have that sort of opinion of that. But it's Batman on film. It counts because there was the 66 movie. I would say I was thinking about this when I was putting my list together. One of the most popular live action Batman villains is Catwoman from Batman 66, and everyone thinks of which actress?
Well,
first and foremost,
probably Julie. They probably
Julie Newmar, but she was not in the 66 movie.
No, Miss Merriweather.
It was Lee Merriweather.
Yeah,
and so I say it's still. I'm saying even Eartha Kitt. Okay, they're all open. They're all available.
Okay, that's what you did. I only counted Lee because she's in the movie.
But that's Ms. fine. Kitka. I mean, I'm not going to be that strict. I'll go ahead. Yeah, Miss Kitka. And we had 2 Riddlers. John Astin also played the Riddler in the series. But I mean, everyone thinks of Gorson, when it comes to that. But Yeah, if you want to be a stickler, we can only go with Lee Merriweather. I'll
I only
acquiesce,
I mean, she's
but
Lee didn't make my top 5, but
well,
she was the
she
only one
didn't
I
make mine
considered.
either, so it wouldn't have mattered that way. But I counted, and tell me if I'm wrong. I counted 21 live action villains, and I'll quickly go through the list from Batman 66: the Joker, the Penguin, the Riddler, Catwoman. Batman 89: the Joker. Batman Returns: the Penguin, Catwoman. Batman Forever.
Would you include Max Schreck?
Yes, I would. Okay. Why not? Okay, so that will give us 22 now. So that's good. That's why I'm going through the list. We can add to it. Batman Forever, the Riddler, and Two-Face. Batman and Robin, Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, and Bane. Bane. Okay. From Batman Begins, the Scarecrow, Ra's al Ghul. The Dark Knight, the Joker.
Would you include Falcone?
I was going to ask you about that. Would you? Because I thought about it with the Batman.
Yeah,
I
think you got to. I think he's got to be on that list. He's a villain. You know, they've had interactions, and they interact in the movie, and Falcone's kind of the reason.
Okay.
Yeah, I give it to Falcone there.
That's 23. The Dark Knight. Oh, did I mention? Yeah, Dark Knight, the Joker, Two-Face. The Dark Knight Rises, Bane and Catwoman. And of course, Scarecrow is in Begins, and there's in the Dark Knight, so it counts all the Dark Knight trilogy. And from the Batman, the Riddler.
Did you get Talia in there?
Now see, this is why I ask, so we can add. That's 20. That's 24. 24.
None of these additions made my top 5.
Well, it won't make my addition, but they're all. We got to
They count. They count.
Yeah, they count. Yeah. Talia. Okay, so the Batman, the Riddler, Catwoman, the Penguin, and I'm going to add Falcone.
Would you?
So
here, interesting thing here.
25.
Would you subtract Catwoman from the Batman because she's not really a villain in the movie? She's basically his partner.
I thought of that.
In Rises, she's definitely more of a villain. In Return, she's definitely more of a villain. I don't know if she's a villain in the Batman.
I would not say that she is a villain in the Batman, but the character is historically considered a Batman rogue, so we'll throw her in there. Plus, I got to give her a little
technicality. We'll give it into technicality.
Give her some props because she was awesome.
She was great
in the film, Zoe Kravitz. So, all right, 25 live action Batman villains. We are not counting the Wizard and who was it, Dr. Daka from the 40 serials. So
right,
we won't be counting those. All right,
and are we not counting Zod from the Flash?
No. Moving on.
What about Batman and BVS?
You trying to get me started?
Yeah,
I'm trying to say so. I'll say something. All right. Count Zack Snyder as a villain. Okay,
there we go. That's the soundbite that's going to make Twitter.
All right, here we go. All right, number 5, Pete. What do you got at number 5 on your rank them?
People are going to get pissed off at me for this.
This one was. I'm going to tell you, this list was hard.
It was
because there are not hard at all. There are not. I mean, there's some I really like. They were no brainers to me.
Yes,
but there are. I looked through the list. There's not really a villain I just flat out didn't like, except maybe Bane and Batman and Robin, and and then
I mean I think I liked Two-Face more than I like Bane and Batman. The Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face.
So I mean,
Batman and Robin.
And we have our criticisms. We've talked about Tommy Lee Jones is Two-Face and being silly, and
Freeze too,
you know, Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy being over dramatic and campy. And you know, I'm no fan of Batman Returns, so you know that Penguin and that Catwoman are not my favorite, even though I would say that they gave good performances. But just flat out
so
dislike, you know, I just, you know, I just thought the Bane was stupid.
No, I get you. For me, it was actually a very easy list to come up with, because I think there's at least, for me, there's always the one like curveball, obviously, and everyone knows we'll get to it. But like I think like like my top 4 is almost like a home run. And for me, it was very easy. To come up with. So
I'll be anxious to see how we match up, or if we even match up at all. Maybe we have a whole different top 5. All right, number 5, go ahead.
For me, number 5 is Heath Ledger as the Joker in The Dark Knight.
Okay.
I think Heath Ledger is fantastic as the Joker. I love what he did in that movie. He's not my favorite Joker out of all the Jokers. But I can't deny his importance and what he did and what for the film and his performance. So he has to be there, but I can't put him as number 1 for me. It's also like too easy, you know. It's kind of like someone's like, well, what's your favorite Nirvana song? And you're like, oh, It Smells Like Teen Spirit. You're like, okay, well, you really went out on a limb there. You know. So that's part of it for me, because I know he's goated, everyone loves him, but for me, he has to be in the top 5. He's just, you know, I think there are other characters that did better portrayals, to be brutally honest.
Okay, interesting. My number 5 is Two-Face from The Dark Knight.
That's a good one.
I thought that was I thought the way they did Two-Face for that story and for that trilogy was perfect, especially for that film.
Yeah. It's kind of about Harvey Dent, you know.
The arc of the story is Harvey Dent, you know. But it's just, it had to be that way. I mean, this was not a Two-Face that was going to, you know, no one was going to keep him around and he's going to show up and rises as a mob boss. It just wasn't going to happen. It was perfect. Everything was perfect about it. So yes,
there was part of me that actually held that hope that Two-Face was in Rises at some point and he didn't die. Like there was part of me that wanted him to kind of like
see that's old 90s thinking, you know. That's old school thinking. You know, they stay on, they come back, and you know.
No, yeah,
I give Nolan credit.
He was ballsy at the time, man. He didn't do what they wanted.
He created a finite story, told over 3 films, and didn't succumb to, you know, this story about, you know, the executive telling Goyer that you got to have the Riddler in part 3, and it's got to be Leo DiCaprio.
He did it his way. He did it his way, and thank God he did, because we all know what happens when they get involved. Yeah, when the studio gets involved.
So there you go. Two-Face, The Dark Knight, as played by Aaron Eckhart. All right, number 4, go.
Number 4, Two-Face from The Dark Knight, played by Aaron Eckhart.
Right.
I love Eckhart in this role, both sides of it. His Two-Face is absolutely perfect. Yeah. It's angry, it's fierce, it's everything that Tommy Lee Jones wasn't. I don't mind the fact that he's not burned by acid, and then it's more of a gas fire. I dig it. I love the look. I love the popping out of the eye. I mean, the CGI in The Dark Knight for Two-Face, I know it's probably, you know, compared to everything else, minimal CGI to movies these days, but it's phenomenal. That face looks absolutely horrendous, yet I can't stop looking at it. And again, he just brilliant performance from beginning to end. I loved every minute of it.
I remember when I was on the set back in 2007, the set visit, we interviewed Eckhart. And at that point, we just knew Harvey Dent was in the film.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And someone asked, you know, do you become Two-Face in this film, or is it something, you know, they're waiting for, saving for, you know, a sequel? And he looked at the publicist, and she shook her head positive, and he said, no, I'll become Two-Face in the film. And so he told us right then.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But we didn't know the dynamics, you know, at that time. So, all right. My number 4, probably nostalgia, 100%, I'll admit, and just, because this made this Batman project made my Batman fandom, made me a Batman fan. It's the Joker from Batman 66, played by Cesar Romero.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those iconic performances, isn't it?
That is, I mean, even, when I was a kid, I didn't even notice the mustache.
I always noticed the mustache, but it never bothered me because it would make sense because men have mustaches.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
Shouldn't his mustache had been green? That's what they should have done. Just have a green mustache.
That would have been cool, but I kind of like the effect of him covering up his face to look like a clown no matter what.
I think we weren't supposed to notice it. I think it was supposed to be skiing because he refused to shave off his mustache.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you can go with a mustache with the Joker, any facial hair, wouldn't it be green because of his hair is green? If if we go the old school, fell in a vat of chemicals Joker version.
Was this Joker? Did they ever confirm that Joker 66 was vat of chemicals? Because I think in one scene he's playing baseball and you could see his skin tone.
I think
he's wearing. It looks more like he's wearing makeup than anything else.
Obviously he had makeup on, but I think in terms of the film, it was the comic book version, and that their only version of that character was it fell in a vat of chemicals.
Okay.
So now I am not, even though I fancy myself a amateur Batman historian, I am not 100% expert on Batman 66. So if someone knows otherwise, tell me, but I'm pretty sure he was supposed to be the comic book Joker, and he was the most comic booky Joker, especially of that era, that 50s, 60s era where he was, mid 40s to basically 73. He was became like a prankster, harmless prankster type character, and laughing all the time and all that. So, all right. So there you go. Joker from Batman 66 is my number 4. Let's go to number 3. Pete, what you got?
Number 3 for me is the granddaddy of them all, Danny DeVito as Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin, in Batman Returns.
Okay.
I absolutely love Danny in this role. I think he's fascinating. I think he's weird. I like the story. I kind of like how it really rejuvenated the Penguin. Before this movie, he was nothing more than an umbrella peddler, and this actually gave him in some opinion, a little bit more depth. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this Penguin. I love everything from the Duck to I'd like to fill your void. It's just it's fantastic.
I remember
the French flipper trick. It spelled beautiful, baby.
I will say that that Penguin is not in my top 5.
Oh, Black Goo.
Shocker.
I love it.
But I remember watching, they had like a special, it was on CBS, hosted by Robert Ulrich. You remember him?
Yes, I do. I do, actually.
He played, it was like he was Vegas Dantana. He was on a lot of TV stuff back in the day. Anyway, and it was about, and they had a Tim Burton interview was part of the special. It's like leading up to Batman Returns. It's like a promo special.
Yeah. Back in the day.
Do you remember it? Yeah. Did you ever?
I don't remember that, but I remember who you're talking about.
And I remember them, Tim Burton going, the Penguin has never really been anything but a guy with gimmicky guy with umbrellas and a tuxedo, but we're going to make him the Penguin. And I really didn't know what that meant. And then I saw the film and I went, okay, I get what you mean there, Tim Burton. Okay. All righty then.
It's a fantastic take.
Well, my number 3 is the Penguin from The Batman, played by Colin Farrell. One of the best parts of the movie.
That's a good one.
And I think he was great. That is, in my mind, that's a great version. I like that mob boss. And of course, he's not the mob boss in the Batman.
Not yet.
He's, we'll see what happens with Oz after the events of the Batman and with the, in the Penguin.
That's coming first.
Sorry. Yeah, Max. And then what happens in the Batman Part 2, but I thought Colin Farrell was great. And I remember Colin Farrell saying before the film was like, well, I only filmed for so many days and I'm not in it all that much, but he feels like he's in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Because he shows up throughout, you know?
I think of the most important parts. He's kind of what moves the story along, right?
Yeah. I mean,
he's the source of information.
The chase, the car chase is great.
Just even the photos too. Like, who are these people that come out of your club? Like, just that stuff. You sprinkle that throughout.
When Gordon and Batman are interrogating him, it's awesome. You know, even
Johnny
Slick,
Waddles, what are you doing here?
Yeah. So yeah, at number 3, I know the Batman is the newest solo Batman film, but Penguin's on my list. There you go. Number 2.
Number 2 for me is Oswald Cobblepot and the Penguin and the Batman and the Penguin.
Oh, okay.
This is I think as close as you're going to get to definitive, really, in terms of from page to screen, and that includes every comic book character ever put from page to screen. I think this is masterfully done with the Penguin and the current iterations of Penguin you'd seen in print since No Man's Land. This is as good
when
as
did when in the comics was it in the early 90s when they
right before No Man's Land, right before I feel like right before
they went with the mob boss type
he
deal.
started becoming more of Iceberg Lounge mob boss, and then No Man's Land he really took over and really it really shaped him for who he was today, especially and even in Tom King's run, very similar, just ruthless mafioso oriented, just old school gangster. That's cool because it's kind of what's cool about the Penguin is it's kind of the old school criminal that Batman originally wanted to take down, right? He's not outside of like Batman Returns, he's not really a freak, you know. He's the one member of the Rogues Gallery. I guess depending on what version of the Riddler, you know, they're kind of the most normal of their actual criminals and not freaks, so to speak. So Colin Farrell just stole that movie, even though, like you said, it wasn't in a lot. I love this portrayal of the Penguin. It's my favorite. It really is.
I still say I know I could probably, you know, the Batman is almost 3 hours, and I could time every time the Penguin is on the screen, and it would probably not be all, you know, time wise, it'd be very minimal, but it feels like a bigger role than the screen time would make you think. If you said, oh, he's in it for 8 minutes of screen time or whatever, it just seems, because he's even at the end, and
it seems like a crazy amount of screen time to give him to a character and then give him his own series too.
You know, and he's looking over Gotham from Falcone's office, you know, when the Batman's giving his last, you know, the speech he's given at the end. But I'm with you. I had him at 3. You had him at 2. All right. Number 2 for me, I'm going to stick with the Batman movie, and I'm going with the Riddler.
Wow. Riddler's really that high up for you.
Oh, yes.
And it's not traditional Riddler either, to be honest with you.
No, but I think it is and isn't. I mean,
aesthetically,
which to me is, I mean, I'm not a huge fan. I mean, you couldn't put him in here with a leotard or a suit with a bunch of question marks and a bowler hat. You know, it's just.
Yeah, I mean, with what Reeves was trying to do, I can't see him in either of those outfits.
And I like the aesthetics. I thought Paul Dano was fantastic. I would say that probably the prequel graphic novel or the comic book story that Paul Dano wrote even made me like this character even more, because we get a lot more background. And it's props to Reeves, or props to Paul Dano for his performance, but props to Reeves for taking a character that's rather silly, to be honest. You think about the 66 version with Frank Gorshin, and I mean, Jim Carrey's Riddler was a riff of that. You know, they didn't do anything dramatically different. And
the Gorshin Riddler is like the standard when you talk to people.
Yeah.
Which is
exactly. Yeah. You know, so to take the Riddler and still he emboldened everything that was the Riddler,
Mhm.
you know,
They kind of
and
spun it on his head. Yeah.
and make him a scary character
Worked for me.
was fantastic. It was
Yeah.
fantastic. I
No, I
hope
like Daniels Riddler.
I hope and I think we will see more of him. I think that core group that was in the Batman, Selina, the Riddler, Penguin, and
Joker.
what will be the Joker we'll
Yeah.
see them
Reeves seems to
throughout.
like 66 a lot. He brings it up a lot and he references it often. So it'd be hard to not agree with you on that.
Okay. All right. Numero uno.
For me, it is Jack Nicholson as the Joker in 1989's Batman.
Okay.
I think Jack is very accurate. I think he's a little bit more accurate, comic book accurate than Heath. Looks, actions. I enjoy. I mean, 89 is kind of what really built my Batman fandom, and Jack is a big part of that. And just his antics from his balloons and his parade to Bob Gunn, and like he's so unhinged that ship them all. Like he's the most quotable villain I think of any Batman movie. And Jack's just having a blast. He's having so much fun in this role. I never really see Jack Nicholson. I never see the where people complain where it's Jack playing the Joker. I just see this man immersed in a role, and while he looks like Jack Nicholson, to me, it's never Jack as the Joker. It's Jack playing the Joker, and I think he did a fantastic job. And I can't praise him enough. I just love it. His laugh, everything about it. Like Jack will always be my definitive Joker until someone else comes along and knocks him off, and that hasn't happened yet. And that includes Heath. So Jack's magical. He really is.
Well, that happened for me because my number one is Heath Ledger's Joker from The Dark Knight.
I figured it was
Greatest comic book superhero / comic book villain in a live action film to date.
What
And
about Thanos?
You can even to hell with Thanos.
That's another one.
So, screw the MCU, all that interconnected bullshit. So on top of it, I just, I mean, just take away the label, just like you can take away the label saying The Dark Knight is the greatest, arguably greatest comic book superhero movie ever. You can just say The Dark Knight is one of the greatest films ever, period.
Yeah.
And I could say the same thing about Heath Ledger's Joker. I think, his portrayal as the Joker is one of the great villain portrayals in film history. And it's, made all sorts of lists by people who are more uppity and know way more about cinema than I do. I mean, I think you remember all the, he's not perma white and all that bullshit.
I
remember all that.
I remember when they first revealed Heath's Joker in that picture, like it was like pixel by pixel website. And we first got it, and it was like more, it looked like a skull with red lips, and people were freaking out.
Yeah.
Like they were like, what is this? The makeup's all sloppy. What's going on? It looks like a skull. Yeah, I remember this. I remember.
Yeah. And then everybody, all those people who were having meltdowns about it, they all went as the Joker, Heath Ledger Joker for Halloween.
For like the next 3 years.
Yeah. Or to this day. Yeah.
That and fat bald guys will always be Bane. It's the two costumes that won't go away. Fat white bald dudes dressed as Bane, and everyone dressed up as Heath's Joker. So
yeah. So there's that's my number one. Do you have any 3 or 4, maybe 5 max, just quickly? Who would be your runners up?
For me, I didn't count Kravitz. I thought she was more of a sidekick than a villain, so I scratched her. My 6 was Hathaway. I think Kravitz has played the best, actually. Catwoman, portray like comic book accurate looks. Yeah, everything. Like Hathaway had the list for me. I'm not a big fan. While Pfeiffer kicks ass, zombie Catwoman's kind of its own thing. So Hathaway has my number 6, which is actually ironically followed by Pfeiffer because her performance is just too amazing not to count. And then Gorshin would be my number 8. So that was my 6, 7, 8.
All right, Pete. Let's pause the podcast for just one moment for these words from our sponsors. All right. So in no particular order, my runners-up would be Jack Nicholson's Joker from Batman '89, the Scarecrow from the Dark Knight trilogy, primarily Batman Begins, played by Cillian Murphy.
He did a great job as well.
Yes, he was great. I liked how he was a connective tissue kind of between all three of those trilogy films.
What did you think of the look of that Scarecrow? Just between the mask and the suit. I was just curious.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't bother me at all.
No. I didn't need him all looking like freaking Ray Bolger from the Wizard of Oz. You know.
Straw coming out of his sleeve.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of people wanted. People bitching about it back then. Yeah, I mean, I liked him in the suit with just to put the mask on. And I also, he had that look. I've got that new McFarlane Funko. He's got
the doctor's coat on or whatever.
Yeah, he's got the straight jacket
at the end of the movie on the horse.
Yeah. So not Funko Pop, but action figure, collectible. And Rachel says, your dolls, your toys. I mean, those are collectibles. No,
they're not Barbies or dolls. These are action figures.
And she'll say, did you get another toy? I said, these are not toys. These are collectibles. This is very important stuff. Liam Neeson's Ra's al Ghul. I liked the whole twist. I like Neeson in that film. And
I actually liked him more when Rises came out because he kind of lived eternally, right? Like that whole gimmick. I kind of dig that.
It was that was Nolan's take on
the Lazarus pit,
that Raz, as he says, or am I immortal? He's telling in the hallucination. I liked look, Catwoman from the Batman, Zoe Kravitz was great. I know you didn't have her because you thought of her as being more of she's kind of an anti-hero hero in the Batman, but she's still, historically a Batman villain. And I got to give it up also for Anne Hathaway's Catwoman in Dark Knight Rises. I thought she was great. So
she was,
and for the most part, like I said before, there's not I think just looking at my list, the only villain that I just straight up, that Bane was dumb in Batman and Robin. It was embarrassing.
It was a bad take. It's a bad take.
Yeah. The rest, I mean, I could say something good about just about all of them, to be
even
honest.
Arnold.
So,
it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
I think he was, I remember
I think he could have done better.
When that casting came out, I remember thinking, "Oh, that's great casting for Mr. Freeze."
Really?
I did. I didn't, but I didn't realize how silly of a take they were going to go with. And there were some moments, they riffed off of,
Details a lot.
Heart of what is it? From the
Ice.
from Heart of Ice. Yeah, the whole. With his wife and all that stuff, I think you go that route. He could have done something with that, and instead of all the signs,
I mean,
welcome to the Ice Age.
I just wish everything was a little bit more serious.
Nice to see you. Yeah, get in the chopper. Get in the chopper.
I like that one. That's a classic.
So yeah, that's what.
What nice things can you say about DeVito's Penguin?
I thought his performance was great.
There you go.
That's it. I think the performance was great. I think the same thing about Michelle Pfeiffer. Performance was awesome, but not my preferred take on the character.
You like the take.
And, hey, I'll even throw in another Catwoman. I got to get, Julie Newmar she was great for that Catwoman. I know she wasn't in 66. It was Lee Merriweather, but
you want to know something? whenever I think of 66, I actually think of Lee Merriweather more because I think of the
Do you?
movie more than I do the TV. Yeah, I remember because I don't, as a kid, I feel like I had access to the movie more often than I did the TV show. And like I just Miss Kitka I think Miss Kitka is pretty huge too when you talk about like Batman
Yeah.
lore, you know, like so like I always tend to think of Lee more than I do Julie, oddly enough.
It is. It's a funny story, you know. I think why she didn't do it is just like she wasn't available. So they shot the film after the first season, after they filmed the first season.
And then she came right back for season 2.
Yeah.
And then I like how they incorporated both of them in the recent animated movie with Two-Face.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was very clever, and I appreciated that.
I thought Lee Merriweather, good looking back then.
They were both beautiful women.
They're both good looking.
They were both beautiful women.
But I did like that whole, you know, in the movie with Miss Kitka and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne.
And there's something about the way that West says Kitka that will always bring a smile to my face. You know, like,
yeah,
I just, that good old West pronunciation. It's classic. I love it. Miss Kitka.
Well, if you are listening to this through one of the players on BOF proper, go down to the comments and you can give your list,
your rankings. Yeah.
What you got. Yeah. If you want to rank all 25 of them that we came up with. Hell, I even filmed with Falcon. I thought Falcone from the Batman, his name is escaping me right now.
Totoro.
Yeah. He played you remember he played Billy Ranky's manager, Billy Martin. You ever see that film? He played Billy Martin in a biopic.
No, I don't think I have. I'll have to look for it.
Yeah. I thought he was great.
I like John.
Yeah, I thought he was great as well. So anyway, there's my top 5. There's Pete's top 5. We throw out some honorable mentions or the next half. So yeah, tell us yours in the comments if you're on YouTube, you can.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see who makes who's. I wonder, would Heath be like? I feel like Heath would be a unanimous number 1 for a lot of people. It'd be interesting to see how many people don't have him as number 1. That's what I wish. Yeah.
So there you have it, Pete. You want to run through what the hell you got going on all over the place? I mean,
yeah,
you got 47 podcasts.
Nah, it's 2.5. But you can follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Verra, which is Zack Snyder's favorite platform, at Pete Illustrated. You can follow my podcast at Italians for Spidey, Italian Spider-Man Coalition. And there's a new BOF podcast I just did with Justin, so listen to that. And I'm all over BOF.com, BOF YouTube. So if you want reviews of toys and comic books and stuff, so check that stuff out.
Awesome. All right. So all I got is just go to Batman on Film, batman-on-film.com. Check out everything there, whether it's by me or. I told that story in one of these social hours. Go back and listen to it. Damn it, like two or three shows back. I told the story. All right. Announcer Rachel will finish up here. Thanks for listening. We will catch you next time. Let's ride.
You have been listening to the BOF Social Hour, Jett's official podcast on Batman on Film. Follow BOF on Threads at The Batman on Film. Follow BOF on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Batman on Film. To help keep BOF up and running, go to patreon.com/BatmanOnFilm, or you can buy BOF a beer at buymeacoffee.com/TheRealBatmanOnFilm. For Jett and everyone at BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Authoritative, definitive, the original, Batman on Film, founded in 1998.
Say goodbye, Graceland.